Slurped it up, my G's. Hope you guys are doing great. Today I want to do a video on snare reverb, how to properly reverb a snare. And I just thought about this video because on a lesson recently with a student of mine, I helped him to reverb a snare. I thought it could be a cool, useful YouTube tutorial as well. Now, firstly, I want to just mention that you don't have to reverb a snare. it's not something you have to do. It's actually something I think that people feel like they need to do, but really they don't. Because I remember when I started producing, I would always try to put reverb on my kick and snare, and I felt like I had to. But these days, my snares and kicks are pretty dry, to be honest. I will use tiny bits of reverb or tiny bits of convolution on them to add depth, but I don't really ever reverb a snare out unless it's for a dramatic effect, But for whatever reason you want to reverb your snare, I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so I've got this beat here. Nice and dry snare. And so if I want to add a sort of medium length reverb onto it, something a bit like this. Yeah, the best way to do it is to do it on a new channel that is responsible for the reverb, so I can have full control of the reverb channel. You could send it to a bus, but I mean, even then, you're going to still have more control if it's just on its own separate channel. So I duplicate over the snare, and on the new channel, I have my reverb. Any reverb will do. Obviously, different reverb colors will give you different results, But here's one that we all have because it's free, or have access to at least. So I've chosen the Reverb 2000 on the Supermassive here. And yeah, it sounds quite nice, So firstly, I make sure the mix is at 100%, so I'm not re-adding any of the same dry signal of the snare again, I've already sort of tweaked the length of it and all that good stuff, So yeah, I've got the reverb, okay? If I want, I could just bounce this out now, because now I've got just the reverb sound on its own, So playing it in with my drums. This is what you want to pay attention to and what you want to listen out for, okay? So if you mute the reverb, you've got to feel the snap of the snare. You've got to feel the weight of the snare. You've got to really get used to it in your ears. You've got to add the reverb in, and then you've got to listen to how much of that snap and weight you've lost. I've lost a fair amount of snap and weight of the main snare, probably 30 or 40% at least. So the main reason that is going to be due to the low end and the mid range conflicts. So the best thing that you can do with a reverb, the best practice is just to take out all of that mid range as much as you can get away with, really, without losing the character. So try to EQ smoothly if you can. And when you add your snare back in here, you really want to add the snare in and then look for the sweet spot where you've got reverb character, but you haven't lost the weight and snap of your snare, Obviously here, I can really feel the fullness of the main snare again, but I've gone up really high. So let's go back a bit. See, you're already at 400 to start to lose a bit of the power of the main snare. Let's settle around 575. That seems like a good balance. Now, if I want extra control, I can just go over it one more time with the EQ again. And this time I'll go a bit lower, but I'll get a bit more of that low mid-range out of the way. So that's quite nice and tight now. So I've preserved as much character as I can while getting rid of the the conflicts. So there. Now we've got a realistic layer of reverb that is not getting in the way of anything, you know? So obviously it's quite a big, loud, long reverb still, even though we've taken out the much of the mid-range and low end. So the next thing I would do would probably be to control it some more. So I could either turn down the volume, or I'll just put on a compressor that'll do it, give it a nice natural turning down. So attack 0, ratio 2, and then let's just get the threshold to knock that reverb down a bit more. Yeah, it's about 22, that's great. I could knock down the volume a bit more if I want here as well. You want the reverb to be at the back of the room. There's no sense in having it in front of you, right in your face, along with the snare. It's supposed to feel like it's far away, you know? So you're supposed to turn it down and like weaken it, you know? So that sounds good in the mix. For me though, I wouldn't really use this on like a main beat because it's just too long, you know? But if I still want just that extra bit of depth on the snare without, without having that super long reverb sound, can just shape the transient as well, you know? Take the sustain down on that reverb. About 50%, and then I'll take it down a tiny bit more. Now it's like a subtle, nice reverb in the background, which is where I would have my snare reverb sitting. If I did have one, it would be something more like that, you know? If, you know, over a drum and bass beat, you know? So that's it. That's how I would I would process the reverb for a snare, how I would layer up a reverb onto a snare. And obviously, I've just chosen that one preset from Valhalla Supermassive, but you could go down the convolution reverb route. And I said route. That's an American way of saying route. YouTube brain. So, yeah, you could use a convolution reverb and then go down Route 66 with it. No. And then you can get different characters, but the same technique will apply, you know? The low end and mid-range, that's the conflict. That's the number one job, you know? That's 90% of the work. And then the rest is just shaping the volume and the length of it, really, you know? But the main thing I just want to say is take the low end and the mid-range out of your reverbs, please. It will help your mix down breathe a lot. Reverb is the biggest eater of mix down headroom, always. This needs to be like a tattoo on your arm. Don't have low end mid-range reverb in your track ever. All right, I say ever. Rules are there to be broken, but still get the tattoo just in case. Thank you very much for watching, my G's. I hope that was a little insightful tip for you guys today. May I remind you before I go as well, I have a wonderful Patreon community with a Discord, daily chats, feedbacks on your tracks, group events, all that kind of good stuff. If you want to support the channel, head over to Patreon. Thank you to all of the new members who have joined in the last couple of weeks as well. I really appreciate it. Also, if you guys want one-on-one lessons, hit me up via my calendar down below. Book yourself something in. If you've got any questions, send me an email. If you need any mastering work done, send me an email. And finally, would you like some vital Serum, phase plant, or current presets? Yes, you would. They are available on my website as well. Great sounds on there. Thank you very much for watching. That's it from me today. More from me very soon. Ciao for now. Much love.